More on the World Poker Tour. We have with us live in the studio, Adam Pliska, president of the World Poker Tour.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Now, of course, I said World Poker Tour because when I say president, people might get you confused with somebody else.
That's right. I am not here to announce any drone strikes or anything else. I'm here to talk about the World Poker Tour event here in the Philippines.
Okay, so the World Poker Tour, you had a little bit of a, a show here about 7 years ago.
That's right.
You finally came here after 7 years. What took you guys so long?
Well, we aired the show before, and indeed we aired on the network, and also had a charity event as well. But to us, part of the World Poker Tour is finding the right venue. Now, the difference between 7 years ago and today is the market has improved greatly, and the degree of competition here in the Philippines is greatly increased. Then we now partnered with Solaire, which is a terrific venue and absolutely complementary to what we're doing at the World Poker Tour.
Now, what are your views on how big poker has gotten in the Philippines? And we saw the rise of poker several years ago, and it's continued to grow around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. What we've seen is that the epicenter of poker has really changed. You know, 10 years ago, it was certainly in the United States and certainly in Las Vegas. And now it truly is a global sport. And more you're seeing the competition in Asia. I think it's absolutely just symbolic that we're bringing this large event here to the Philippines because it's a great place where I think that the West and the East can meet. It's comfortable for Western players. At the same time, you have all this great competition that's developing here in Asian countries.
Speaking of the Asian countries, what do you think it means for the poker players in Asia that a brand like the WPT will be here?
Yeah, well, I think it's a compliment to what's actually happening here. You have terrific players, a great level of competition, and players that are serious about this sport. And the sport is growing and developing. You know, it's one of the most watched sports on television right now. And I just think that we're likely to see is some big stars coming out of Asian countries, and especially here in the Philippines.
And how do you think the level of competition, or in the Philippines, compared to it is around, not just in Asia, but around the world? How do you think the Filipinos, I know you got a little bit of a taste on how Filipinos play the game of poker, but how do you think we measure with the rest of the world?
Sure. You're absolutely going to see some great play here in the Philippines. I wouldn't be surprised at all if a Filipino participant takes the title. The difference is you're going to be on a global stage.
Yes.
And it's going to make a lot of international news. So, you know, look, the competition is fantastic, and I think you've got a lot of eager players and a lot of players who are there for the competition. So you're going to see sparks fly.
And this is going to be the full-on event, the full-on tournament that's going to be held in Solaire. And there's going to be other side events that's going to be taking place?
Yeah, sure. You know, there'll be side events. There'll also be satellite events that'll be taking place from now until then. So people can go to Solaire and satellite in for a small amount to try to get into the event. It's the entire, from the 18th to the 28th will be a great time to either come down and play or just see a really great event taking place.
Now, you mentioned the satellite tournaments to be able to get a seat into the main event. Yeah. But if people just want to buy in to the main event,
sure.
Do you already know how much it's going to cost?
Yeah, that's $2,200. And we expect from that, you know, you'll see hundreds of people at this event. Okay. This will be a very large event. I suspect that you'll see a first place that is some, you know, life-changing amounts. Certainly in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and complimentary of the fact that over 130 people have left with a first place of $1 million or more on the World Poker Tour.
Wow, fantastic. Now, I like how you also said how life-changing. But in the game of poker, in the sport of poker, you can relate a lot of things to life in general. What's some of your favorite analogies when how poker is, you know, same as life?
Sure. Well, I mean, first, one of the things that poker teaches, because poker is a great, it's a great teaching game for life itself, is that it not only teaches you about your odds of winning and the statistics that go into that, but it teaches you about loss management. You know, one of the most important things in any sport is not only knowing about the upside, but knowing how to manage your loss. In poker, you're playing, you're learning about potential, you know, when you win, when you lose, but when to cut your losses, how to be a good sportsman when you lose, so that you're welcome back and you can still enjoy the game.
All right. Well, please invite everybody out there again to come down to Solaire, and of course, maybe they can win a seat through the satellites, or if they just want to buy in, please invite everybody down there outside to come down to Solaire.
We certainly want everybody to come down to Solaire. Come from the 18th to the 28th. Please, we invite you to be part of the World Poker Tour family, and if you win, you're going to also come to the WPT Championship in the U.S. and have a chance to win some serious money there as well. So thank you very much. We appreciate the time.
Thank you. Do I get a seat too?
I would be hoping that you would play. I know you're pretty good.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.